Kelly Oubre officially set to return to the Sixers, a massive boost for this team. Meanwhile, James Harden opening up about what Daryl Morey reportedly promised him this past offseason, and the Sixers ready to go on a massive win streak. We'll talk about all of that and more, but before we jump into it, do me a favor, if you enjoy these videos, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe right here to Philly Take with RB. We give you daily content. We pump out all of the coverage, and ring that bell so you don't miss any of the notifications. PhillyTakeWithRB.com. Go check out our new site. Check out the merch. Flush the process tees and hoodies. Yes, sir, merch. We got the Philly Take tees, hoodies, snapbacks, a whole bunch and more. Check it out on the new site. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sixers are about to get a huge boost back in the likes of Kelly Oubre. And to be quite honest with you, man, I am pumped. Do you think that the return of Kelly Oubre Jr. will help this team significantly? Do you think they should just go out and immediately try to trade for a star and make a big splash? Should they get healthy and wait and see? What do you think the best course of action is? Let me know your thoughts down below. And before we jump into a plethora of news today, a shout out to our partner of today's video. Shout out to the partner of today's video, Mint Mobile. If you out there are similar to everyone else in the world who has thought to themselves at one point, why is my wireless bill so high? Then Mint Mobile is for you. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 per month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network and keep costs low because they sell directly to you online, cutting out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? You can go and use that money to treat yourself to a Sixers game or even buy a new jersey. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. They even offer super affordable family plans with as little as 2 lines. And switching to Mint is super easy thanks to their digital eSIM cards. You can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will actually ship you a new SIM card free of charge. The whole process will only take about 15 minutes. And if you get stuck, Mint has a great customer service team to help you through it. So if you are interested in reliable coverage and fast data for a fraction of the cost, go to mintmobile.com/PhillyTake. You can go right down to the description of this video and click the link, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. All right, man, let's jump right into it. So this put out earlier today by Keith Pompey of the Inquirer. He says Kelly Oubre Jr. was a full participant in practice today and plans to play on Wednesday against the Washington Wizards. Now, keep in mind, the Sixers had 2 games added to the schedule this week. Originally, about a week ago, they did not know who they were going to play and when, but given that the in-season tournament has now proceeded forward and they are in the knockout stage, Sixers are not in that tournament. They have games this week against the Wizards and the Hawks, which honestly I think is a blessing in disguise, rather than going into the first year of this tournament and facing a team that's willing to go 110% like the Celtics or the Bucks. They get to just hit that refresh button and say, okay, let's chill out for a minute and play the lousy Washington Wizards. So I'm actually really looking forward to them racking up some W's, which we will get into later here in the show. But Kelly Oubre also had to face the media today for the first time and discuss his situation. And I'm not going to sit up here and be the TMZ and try to speculate what's going on. We all saw that footage that was put out by TMZ of Kelly eerily walking up his steps, coming in with his bike into his house, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just like really weird to watch. And at the end of the day, I think we can all come together and say, we're glad that Kelly Oubre as a human being is okay, right? Because based on what he said at his word, that could be a very traumatic experience. And, maybe he wasn't in the right mindset after, and maybe this is all just a crazy situation. And, only a Sixers player goes out and gets hit by a car when he's having a really, really splendid start to the year. But at the end of the day, we're glad he's okay, and he is going to be back in honestly a shorter time frame than people expected. They thought late January, and here he is, early December, getting ready to play. So according to Kelly Oubre, this is what he said about the people questioning his situation. He says, quote, "This was and is a very traumatic situation for me and my family. I just wish my life wasn't like the Truman Show, where everybody could kind of watch it and have their own opinion about my life." So he's obviously fed up with all the speculation and doesn't like everybody, out there trying to falsify his claims. At the end of the day, man, let's get him back on the court, get him healthy, and get him to be that 3-and-D player that the Sixers need again. And more importantly, for the Sixers on the court, I mean, they are going to get a huge boost from Kelly Oubre. And I really liked what he said about Tyrese Maxey in the 50-point game that he was not able to be a part of, and hearing Tyrese dedicate the performance to him, right? Tyrese said this was all for Kelly. It was the game right after. He said, quote, I had to go upstairs and shed a little tear. I was blessed to see him perform. Shout out to Kelly, man. Just a really good locker room guy. So excited to have him back on this team. And to be quite honest with you, man, I think people are really underestimating the impact of Kelly Oubre. He's averaging 16 points a game. He's averaging, 5 rebounds? And he's just a guy who knows his role. He came in. He's not going to have 20 shots a game like he did in Charlotte. He comes in. He plays around Maxey and Embiid. He knows his role. He brings that swagger, that toughness, that mentality to the court. And he just seems like a really good dude. He can also defend 3 different positions, right? So he has impacted his team in so many ways. And, I feel like people have forgotten so quickly that he's a part of this starting lineup, right? That's 16 points per game right there that could really impact some of these Sixers games that they lost, right? Some of these games where it went down and they weren't able to complete the comeback, you add in 16 points there, it could be a completely different outcome. And I just think he's the perfect wing player, the perfect 3-and-D prototype, which the Sixers have not really had a lot of over the years. So I think that's also, just a bit more juice into like, man, it's really nice to have that type of player on this team. And I'm glad to have him back. So Kelly Oubre set to return next game. Let's hope he suits up. He was in practice and everything was good in that aspect. Okay, James Harden, we will not spend too much time on, but he came out today in an article written by Sam Amick, and James Harden says that Daryl Morey promised him a max contract. Here's the part of the article on The Athletic. So you mentioned the financial part, and I was hoping you could clarify one aspect. Were you actually told by the Sixers that you had the deal coming? He says, a max? Yeah. That was said by Daryl is the question, and he says, yes. So James Harden says that Daryl Morey offered or promised to offer him a max contract early in the offseason after the playoffs. Here's another part of the article. He says, quote, the day that I opted in, there was a conversation and communication about it being a 10-day process. This was going to happen within 10 days, and then it got dragged out for 4.5 months or however long it was. And in addition to that, Sam Amick posted his article here. Again, go check it out. I'm not going to pay the $7 a month to check this out. I really don't care that much. But it is interesting that it comes out now of all times. And this is the main quote he put as a little teaser. He says, quote, people were throwing dirt on my name, but the good guys always win, he said with a smile. You let me know who you think is telling the truth here in this story. People came out right after, said, oh, that's not true. Let me know what you think down below. But the funniest part and the send-off, it's a perfect transition. The good guys always win. You're right. The good guys do win. Look at the Sixers record and look at the Clippers. I was keeping up for the Clippers for about 6 games. I honestly don't care. They stink. Harden, all those boys are not meshing together. I told you it wasn't going to happen. They might not even make the playoffs, right? They're an average, maybe below average team. They don't have the depth pieces. They gave away all their depth in the deal. Sixers won this trade by a mile. And at the end of the day, I'm glad Daryl Morey stood on his ground here. Sure, you're going to have to make, a subsequent move. You're going to have to add more value to this team. But just based alone on that first part, right, that James Harden trade, honestly, I think Daryl Morey's won every James Harden trade. I think he won it when he brought him here. I think he won it when he traded him away. The first time he traded him, every time Daryl Morey wins a trade. So I'm glad that this has finally worked out, and the good guys do always win. And the Sixers are the ones with the positive record right now. So we will see how it plays out. Meanwhile, PJ Tucker, his last 9 games, right? Don't forget, big part of this trade was Daryl Morey offloading the PJ Tucker contract. Last 9 games. Well, actually, the last 3, a DNP. He's not even playing. He's out of the rotation, ladies and gentlemen, in a rotation that is very short with depth and very heavy with stars, right? He's not even playing anymore. So bravo. By the way, he's owed about $10 million next year, $11 million. So we'll see how that plays out. But I want to end this off just by talking about the Sixers looking forward and their outlook. Here's the Eastern Conference right now. Sixers sitting at 12-7. They are the 4th seed. Meanwhile, the Clippers are 9-10. They're the 9th seed in the West. But Sixers are 12-7. They've had a couple games set back here. They're 4-6 in the last 10. They have dealt with injuries. They dealt with Embiid resting a couple times and obviously being sick right now. But here's their upcoming schedule, ladies and gentlemen. Washington, Atlanta, Washington, Detroit, Charlotte, Chicago. Sixers might be able to really go on a hot stretch. And I think that this could be the Kickstarter, into that early part of the season. Like, they should be able to go on like a 8 out of 10 here, or a 10 out of 13 maybe, or whatever. I think the Sixers can really rally up some wins here, get that momentum going, and ride hot into the new year, into January, February, before it starts to get really tough. And I think this is the stretch that will determine, if they can provide themselves with a comfortable cushion there to really get going and get back on their horse. So I expect them to do it. This is going to be a big stretch when we look back in the season. Like, okay, did they take care of the easy ones? They have done that so far up to this point. Let's hope they can continue that. Let's hope that they can, continue to have guys step up, even like they did against Boston off the bench. So we will see, man. That was a tough loss. Either way, though, I do expect this team to look better when they get healthier. And now adding a guy like Kelly Oubre back into the mix is going to change everything. Hopefully this team can come together and Nick can continue to push these boys in the right direction. We will see how it all plays out. But that being said, give me all your thoughts down below in the comments section. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe. That being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.